Good morning, welcome back to the channel. This is a video I'm making on the back of the one I made yesterday. I seem to have stirred up a bit of a hornet's nest by making a comparison between my Sony A1 and GFX100 that I had for a few days. Some people seem to have got the idea that I was saying that the A1 was better in all respects than the GFX. In reality, that's clearly not true, but for the real world photography that I do in places like this, up in the woods, it didn't offer me the advantages, or a significant enough number of advantages, to warrant the expense and the real hassle of switching camera systems over, which was initially my intent. So I made some comparisons and I put an image up yesterday between a RAW file and a JPEG, and people were right to point out you can't compare a RAW file with a JPEG, and I was saying that was the mistake that I knew I'd made when I initially took the test shots at the camera shop. Anyway, long story short, I'm bringing the A1 and the A7R4 out today to reshoot an image I took with the GFX, which I do have the RAW file for, 2 weeks ago now, and I'm going to exactly frame up exactly the same little shot, and the two RAW files from these two cameras, I'm going to then compare them in Lightroom when we get back a bit later on today, and put a video together on the back of that, which is what you'll be watching, which is what I'm telling you about now. So let me get to the location and I'll briefly talk you through the shot, and I'll explain what I originally took with the GFX and what I'm about to take with the two other cameras. Well, as I was saying, this comparison, it's not meant to be a scientific comparison. You can basically get any number of those online anyway and draw your own conclusions from those. This is simply me taking real world images and using them for Facebook, Instagram, on my website and so on and so forth. And my objective isn't to sort of say one camera is better than another. It's simply to say that in my thought processes, in my reasoning for why and what cameras I use, there is a real world comparison to be done, and if I don't see a significant enough justification between one camera system and another, I'm not going to waste the money on moving from one to another system. And that's really the only objective I've got, is moving upwards in terms of camera equipment, not just because it's the newest and latest and greatest. I want to see an advantage that I can actually tangibly see in the resultant image quality in every respect, whether that's image quality in terms of high ISO performance, whether it's low ISO performance, whether it's just pure resolution. I need to see a benefit to warrant the to justify the move, and that's really my objectives. So don't think this is meant to be perfectly scientific. It isn't going to be. I've come to the same place I took the shot with the GFX 2 weeks ago, and I'm almost certain the light conditions and time of day are pretty similar, and although the foliage will have sort of deteriorated a little bit in the meantime, I think there'll be enough detail in the shot to be able to compare them reasonably well. So I'm nearly at the location, and I'll set up and I'll show you what I'm taking. Well, I'm at the location, I've got the camera set up, and I framed up exactly the image I had before, so I'll spin you around and let you see what it was I originally took. So I've actually got it here on the phone, and I'll show you what I've got framed on the camera. The original lens was a 30mm medium format lens, which equates to 24mm, so I've got the 17 to 28mm lens on the camera, and I've got it set at 24, which is as close as I can get. So I'll just spin you around. Right, so this is my iPhone image that was taken of my computer screen this morning. That's the frame that the GFX was set with, and you can see that I've got on the back of the camera pretty much exactly the same framing that we had on the GFX in terms of the image. A lot of reflection on that screen, which is making it difficult, but that is definitely as close to the same image. I've got the camera set up at ISO 2500, which is also the ISO I had, and f11 as well, which was also the f number I had on the other lens, and I've got a 60th of a second. There's little or no wind, so I'll put a 2-second timer on, and Okay, so this is the the Sony A1 that I'm taking the shot with first. So I've focus locked onto the little bit of stump here, which I've got F10. It's just moved to turn it back to F11. Let's take that shot. So that's the first shot. That's with the A1. I'm going to switch the lenses over now and put that lens on, leave the camera location, or at least the tripod here, and frame up the A7R4 with the same image and get that one as well. I appear to have a third compensation. Let's just wind that down to 0 and take that again so that everything is the same. Right, so that's that one. Now I need to put the A7R4 on. So I'll have to put you down while I do that because I've got nowhere to stand this. No, I've got nowhere to stand it. It's going to fall off wherever I put it. No, I'll stand it on the tree and hope it doesn't fall off. And it looks like it will fall off any moment now. So if you end up in the dust, that'll be you ending up in the dust. And it's juddering, so that means the gimbal head is touching the wood of the tree. Okay. Oh, that's it. I'll have to turn this off and do it again in a minute. Okay, so I've now got the A7R4 Mark II, or whatever it's called, A7R4A, on the tripod. I've got the same framing as I had with the other one. I've just accidentally moved the focus, or the distance. It's at 20, so now it's 24 millimeters focal length, and that's exactly the same framing. We want a 2-second timer. We've got 2-second timer. I want ISO 2500, which I've got in there, F11 set, and 0 compensation, and that's a 50th of a second. So I'll get that shot. We'll take that shot now. The fern that's down there on the floor, just in front of where I'm taking this shot, you can see on the back of the camera probably, this fern is waving around slightly. There's a bit of breeze today, and there's a loud aeroplane above me on its way into Gatwick now the airports are running again. So I'll take a second one just to be on the safe side. Okay, so there we have it. I now have 2 raw images on both the A1 and also the A7R4, and they're of the same subject, a different time frame, I accept, so that's not scientifically the best way to have done it. I should have brought all 3 cameras up when I had the GFX and done the same thing, but I didn't. So we'll be able to look at those images. The conditions here are pretty much the same, so I don't think nothing's changed. The leaves haven't moved. The fern's still pretty much in the same state the fern was in a couple of weeks ago, so I think it's not too bad a comparison. So let's get back home and have a look at those and see what conclusions I can draw and how many more people I can upset with my comparisons. See you in a bit.